Very good morning. Y'all can see the screen, right? Can see, right? Can y'all see?
Yes, I can.
Business presentation skills slide, y'all can see, né? Okay. Now, okay, before I take a start on this now, because actually we have the assignment submission on 6th, if I'm not mistaken. So I got some assignments, in the sense I got some for feedback, but not the assignments of everyone's here. So hope you all will be sending me for corrections. And whoever who might have given the corrections, please do so. Whatever the way මම කියපු විදිහට අර structure එකේ ටික tech assignment එක යන්න. මොකද සමහර ඒගොල්ලෝගේ contents very good. Contents really good. But you know, I mean, when it comes from project report or an assignment, you need to put it in a proper order kind of a thing. So that is why we were discussing the assignment structure last week. So and maintain that one, because that is very much important for us to do it in a proper way. Otherwise, what will happen? We will not be able to come up with the proper, you know, a report kind of a assignment. Otherwise, it will not be really worth doing it. So make sure you all stick to that as well, so that it will be okay. Right. So let's. Anyone is having any concern with the assignment before I take a start for today's one? Anyone is having any concern with the assignment, my dear friends? Anyone?
Hello, good morning.
Very good morning, Siraj. Yes.
I want to clarify a small this thing. The second question.
Okay.
That is about the procedure dimension, procedural dimension. Subtitle under this what you call distribution and logistic. That part, logistic and distribution, logistic and the finance.
Okay. Give me 1 minute. I will let me open the assignment.
Yeah.
Let me open the assignment. Okay. Now here, even I can't remember because now there are a couple of assignments, right? I'm also mixed up with sometimes the assignments. Right. This is the one for y'all.
Yeah, the second one. So you have given some the subtitle, some supporting this thing. So under that one, the finance and logistic, and also the distribution.
No, I mean, it's like this now. Okay, let's read the question. Using the two main dimensions, dimensions of service quality improvement. Okay, they talk about the procedural and the personal dimensions. Okay, briefly explain the factors you identify under these two dimensions in company what you have selected. All right, okay, right. So we designed the structure, sample structure, service quality improvement in selected XYZ company. Then we were talking about key dimensions in the service quality improvement. Okay, procedural dimensions. We were talking about distribution, marketing, finance, HR. Okay, the personal dimensions separately. Okay, right. Now I got it. Yes, Siraj, go ahead. So you are asking.
I need a small clarification regarding that finance part and logistic. Also the distribution. Can you explain a little?
Yeah, sure. Super. So logistic and distribution basically, okay, let's say as example in certain companies, the logistic procedures are there. Let's say, okay, now, okay, if a company handle a range of product mix, Okay, I will take as an example companies like Softlogic, then Singer, John Keels, even to a certain extent companies like Bowers, even your companies maybe sometimes. Now see Unilever, multiple product range. So some products, let's say Fonterra as an example. Now these companies, the logistics, let's say, okay, Fonterra as an example, you talk about fresh milks. So they don't deliver fresh milk in a normal trucks. So no matter how urgent the delivery, so there is a procedure where they need to deliver on a particular time frame, right? So once the production out from the factory, within this number of hours, they need to liquidate. Liquidate in the sense they need to move out the items from the factory and make sure those things are kept in the retail point, because they will be they are usually even taking certain products as returns, because especially when it comes for fresh milks, but those things are not there when it comes for, let's say, milk, powdered milk kind of a thing. So these procedural dimensions now, I mean, powdered milk, let's say as an example, might take about 2 to 3 days. I'm just taking hypothetical, okay, 2 to 3 days to make the delivery from the first order to delivery. Now, on an urgent delivery, bulk order, urgent delivery. Now, if we go on procedural dimensions, it takes about 2 to 3 days to deliver. So then it is a concern, and also logistic. Now, no matter what, no matter what, you need to use a particular kind of a vehicle, chiller, or the vehicle to deliver the fresh milk. You can't send it from an average vehicle kind of. So like that, you have certain conditions when it comes for logistic and distribution, and also warehouse management. If we take now certain drugs in certain companies, you need to have certain conditions in the warehouse. Let's say maybe a cool room with 0 degree Celsius, or maybe -degree Celsius cool room, depending on a particular drug where you need. So now let's say you need to you got a huge order from a government. Let's say you quoted for Ministry of Health tender, and you got this order, but you have the capacity only up to this level. So that might, that shouldn't kill the final order. I mean, you know what I mean, right? So those procedural dimensions, distribution, the timing, warehouse management. Now, let's say as an example, okay, even when it comes to distribution and the logistic, you have physical distribution, inventory management, and the warehouse management. Those are the three major areas we are talking about when it comes to logistic and distribution. So look at in a particular way. Now, any of these procedures are either improving or spoiling the customer satisfaction. If so, talk about them. I'm not saying each and every company is having issues with those areas. No, not like that. Whatever the company you selected, sometimes you might identify as salespeople, okay, just because of this procedures. I am not in a position to go into this type of a thing. So sometimes the customer get embarrassed. So those things might be a concern. Finance as example, sometimes the rules and the regulations might set across the board saying that, okay, anyway, you need to have the payment transfer. I'm just taking hypothetical example, payment transfer check visible in the account for you all to deliver the stuff. So you may have a very good client where your system doesn't have a flexibility. So the procedure, very good, reliable client. Over a period you have taken, you have been dealing with this client, but the system or the procedures basically making you a barrier to make that client comfortable and happy. So those kind of a thing we need to look at. Each and every company might not have all these things, even HR and let's say training and development. So HR is, let's say as an example, once again, now HR is the people, just to make it unbiased, they don't allow any of the departments to do any recruitment parts. They take the recruitment parts, but what if they don't get the right candidate which is needed by your team. So in that case, okay, I mean, how HR is basically working with you all. So I mean, they should take simply the job description, the job specification from your side, and they should get involved, the sales head or the marketing head or department head in the interviewing process. So those things, let's say. Now, if those things are not there, we are getting wrong people there. If the training and development mechanism is not there within the organization, so that might finally not build proper team to serve the outside environment. So like that. So we need to identify, there may be some more research and development. Hariyata karanne. So I mean, like, customers are not getting new products. So customers are getting the same thing, and customers now fed up with the products, you know. So those things. So then let's say another function, the production as an example. Not moving the proper timelining. So some salespeople get the order, but production doesn't have a proper capacity to do the production. So there are procedures. So killing your let's say the delivery time and the procurement. I have not included those things. Even the company's procurement. Now, let's say as example, finance is taking a finance and procurement is taking a decision. This happen in certain companies. Okay, certain I mean, they should reduce a certain debtors capacity for them to place a new order. So like that, those procedures might sometimes kill, I mean, special orders maybe. Kind of a thing. I mean, you don't have to stick only into distribution, logistic, marketing, communication. Now, let's say the marketing communication then again, right? So you use your budget allocation, right? Might not come, I mean, might not be able to give a display board to another person. So you allocate your budget, no any tolerance, no any variation, no any adaptability or agility over there. So you sometimes what will happen, you will not be able to give a proper support for your client with a new display board. අපි හිතමු කඩේක අලුත් එක්කෙන ඒ මුදලාලි තවත් කඩයක් දානවා. නමුත් ඒක unexpected incident එකක්. ඒක අවුරුද්දේ මුල අපිට plan කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙච්ච incident එකක් නෙමෙයි. නමුත් now let's say budget allocation එකේදී කිව්වොත් එහෙම no you can't do like that. Okay, now annual budget is finalized, so you didn't come up with the forecast properly, no, so we can't give kind of thing. So you will not be able to give that. So what will happen, your competitor might come and put up a board over there. So like that, මේ conditions හතරෙන් limit වෙන්න එපා. සමහර වෙලාවට අනිත් conditions තියෙන බල මම අපි අර මේ වෙලාවේ කතා කරලා දැම්මේ මේ conditions හතරනේ. So you might sometimes not have any concerns, any procedural dimensions, or you might not identify serious procedural dimensions. You can say, okay, financial procedural dimensions are not directly affecting affecting negatively for customer satisfaction. So kind of a thing you might come up with if you don't identify any negatives thing. But if you identify any of the positives in the sense any barrier kind of a thing, come up with them. And there you can talk about, okay, I mean, what can you all do also? But they are not expecting any strategies here, remember. Now they are asking, okay, what are the, what do you call the question says, wait. Question says, using the two main dimensions of service quality improvement, the procedural and the personal dimension, briefly explain the factors. Now, you don't have to, I mean, suggest your strategies or anything, right? You just have to list down. එතකොට අතනින් පිට ගියොත් එහෙම සිරාජ් අපි හිතමු උදාහරණයක් විතර research and development, production ඒවා වුණත් කතා කරන්න පුළුවන් එහෙම තියෙනවා නම්, right? අපි අර නිකන් areas හතරක් ගත්තා, තව areas add කරන්නත් පුළුවන්. ඕනනම් මේ areas වෙනස් කරන්නත් පුළුවන්. That is not a must. අර areas හතර කියලා ගත්තේ අපි අර ඒ වෙලාවේ කතා කරනකොට ගත්ත areas හතර හින්දා. Clearද?
Yeah. It's clear.
So you Siraj, what is the company you have selected?
CBL.
Okay, so you can talk about, okay, let's say as an example, let's say, I mean, like if you all have any logistic kind of a I mean set procedures, okay, අපි order එක ඇවිල්ලා දවස් 5කින් තමයි අනිවාර්යෙන් බඩු ටික යවන්නේ, kind of a thing. I don't know, I mean, like they might not have that type of thing. Yeah, so that sometimes you, I mean, you might not be able to cater for a sudden order. right? Unplanned situations, the contingencies වලට flexible නැත්නම් නැහැයි කියලා හිතුනොත්, so that is a procedure, which means the procedure is not flexible for us to, go for contingency kind of a thing. අන්න ඒ වගේ දේවල් තමයි අපි identify කරගන්න. So those things. Samahara procedures තියෙන පුළුවන්. Let's say as example, some procedures may be there. Yes, you have a distributor over in that particular region, and he's a authorized person, authorized distributor, and but you identify a multi-branded wholesaler who is not having a proper, what you call relationship with the distributor whom you have appointed. Let's say the personal grudges, business, no. Now, are we going to lose that wholesaler just because of these personal issues between the wholesaler and the distributor? Wholesaler is a multi-branded, let's say large volume wholesaler. So if that is the case, if your procedure block you, right? So you can't give it to a wholesaler directly, right? So then it will be another concern. You might lose. Then the wholesaler might be a threat for your product in future. Hierarchy may be distributor, wholesaler, then the retailer. I'm just saying, or else distributor to retailer. Now, just because of these two guys clash, you are going to lose that. So how your procedures might basically approach or flexible, to gain the market. Our final intention is to get the market. No? Better than the competition, we need to address. So that is our intention. I think ඔය වගේ procedures සමහරලාට contractual agreements අපි sign කරලා තියෙන අපිට ඒ territory එකේ වෙන එක්කෙනෙක්ට දෙන්න බැරි වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So these are certain real scenarios, certain contracts we have identified. Okay, no matter what, right? If the let's say given target achieved by the distributor, you can't appoint. So you can't increase. Either you have to increase the target. Even the market is visible. Currently you have to wait till you complete that particular financial year. Why? සමහරලාට distributor bonds දීලා තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. Bank guarantees දීලා තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට ඒ limit එකට තමයි distributor play කරන්නේ. එතකොට obvious distributor opportunity එකක් තියෙනවා නම් approach කරන්න නැතුව ඉන්නේ නැහැ. Approach කරනවා, but now these procedures sometimes might block you. අපි ඔන්න ඕවා තමයි පොඩක් identify කරගන්න ඕනේ. ඒවා identify කරගෙන ඒවා ලිව්වනම් හරි. සමහර procedures තියෙන පුළුවන් positive. මේ procedure එක අපිට positive. So you can talk about that also. Just because of this procedure, now even our customers are really comfortable, right? Company එකක් කවදාවත්, I don't think the company is like the top companies. කවදාවත් ඒ කියන්නේ procedures දාන්නේ නැහැනේ sales අඩු කරගන්න. කොහොම හරි බලන්නේ procedure එක දාලිවලා sale එකට supportive වෙන procedures නේ දාන්නේ. back end එක කොච්චර හිර කරන්න බැලුවත් front එකේදී කොහොම හරි body flexibility එකක් you get na.
Yeah, mainly the FMCG companies.
Yeah, FMCG companies මොන back end එකේ මොන pressure එක දැම්මත් front එකට ඒගොල්ලෝ pump කරනවනේ. සමහරලාට back end එක flexible කරනවා top strategic level එකේ කට්ටිය ඉඳන්, right? Okay, will that flexibility is there, right? So මොකද they don't want to lose. So huge competition. Even the CBL is getting a tough competition now with the newcomers, and even the potential threat is also there for CBL, right? So those things comes up now. So they need to secure the market somehow. එතකොට ඒ threat ඔක්කොමත් එක්කම procedures වලින් ගොඩක් වෙලාවට uncomfortable කරනවා අඩුයි. But we can identify. Positive උනත් කමක් නැහැ කියන්නේ එතන. Negatives දැන් මෙතන procedures කියලා කිව්වට negatives නෙමෙයි. මේ procedure එක හින්දා කලින් තිබ්බේ නැහැ දැන් තියෙනවා. So that is positively affecting the customer satisfaction. You can talk about even that. Perfectly okay. Others also clear that area. That good that you asked that question, Siraj, because otherwise others also might have got confused with the same thing.
Yeah.
Anyone?
Thank you very much.
No problem. So we today 31st. No, we have to submit. I think. Give me 1 minute. Yeah, you all have to submit by 6th. No? You'll have to submit by 6th. So anyone is having any other questions? Anyone is having any other questions related to the assignment? Especially those who are not working. Hansuka, you have any concern? I think you are from a bank, right? If I'm not mistaken. Hansuka? Gihani, are you okay? Gihani's then Sampath. I think Gihani, you sent me, right?
Yeah, sir.
You sent me, right? Yeah. Hansuka, you have any concerns? Sampath, you have any concerns? Akalanka, with regards to the assignment? Right, super. Okay, then let's move forward with today's one. Today we'll be talking about one of the main, one of another personal dimension of a. With this, we'll be completing the first 20 hours. We have exceeded anyway the 20 hours. First 2 modules we'll be completing, and you all can submit the assignment on 6th. So after that, the first part of your DSSM is done, and y'all will meet the other lecturers also from not next week, week after. Right. Okay. So let's move on with the presentation skills one. Right. Okay. You all can see the screen. So now this is a soft skill what we are expecting from a salesperson. And I mean, when we talk about presentation skills, give me 1 minute. Let me see whether I put up my sounds there. Okay, when we talk about presentation skills, my dear friends, remember most of the people think අර PowerPoint slide එකක් දාලා කට්ටියක් ඉස්සරහට ගිහිල්ලා කතා කරන දේ කියලා. So that is, yes, that is also a presentation. But here we talk about something more than that. Because this is one of the personality dimension what we have identified where a salesperson need to master himself or herself. So in it can be an academic presentation what you do, it can be a business presentation what you do. So certain skill level you need to have. You need to, I mean, use your both physique and the mind to go for a proper presentation. We have seen most of the good plans fail just because of poor presentations. You might do the best plan. Sometimes you might not be able to convince using proper presentation, though the plan is 100% okay. You might not be able to get the confirmation from the board for your plan just because of the failure in your presentation. How you present is not attractive. කියන දේ සමහර වෙලාවට, I mean, they might not absorb properly. So those things might kill the value of your entire effort. So this is one of the skill what we have seen as one of the major lacking skill in a salesperson, but this is one of the most important skill in a sales personality, my dear friends. Remember, now whoever who comes under y'all, remember try to ask them to master this, because this presentation skills, in the sense, you even how present yourself in front of a client with your body language, with your tonality, with your voice, all these things are also the presentations. අපි මේ ඉස්සරහා හිටගෙන කතා කරන එක විතරක් නෙමේ ප්‍රසන්ටේෂන් එක කියන්නේ කියන එක හොඳට මතක තියාගන්න. මොකද මේ දේවල් අපි පොඩි කාලේ ඉඳලා කියන්නේ අපි අලුතෙන් ළමයෙක් එනකොට තමන්ගේ ටීම් එකට ඒ ළමයාව මාස්ටර් කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් මේ ස්කිල් ලෙවල් එකේ ප්‍රසන්ටේෂන් කියන එක අපි මොකද්ද කරන්නේ? Now to go and talk to a client also we are training. We give a training for them. So how to talk to a client over the phone also we are giving a training for them. So how to send an email also we are giving a training for them. So like that, all these things are coming under presentations, because you're presenting either yourself and your proposals or together to convince another person. Remember, presentation, you have two parties. The person who is presenting in this end and the person who is receiving on the other end. Person who is presenting from this end and the person who is receiving your presentation. The person who is observing you from the other end. So it can be one-to-one presentation, or it can be a one-to-many presentation. one-to-many කියලා කිව්වම එක පුද්ගලෙක් presentation එක කරනවා ඔක්කොන්ටම ගොඩකට. one-to-one කියලා කිව්වොත් එක පුද්ගලෙක් තනි පුද්ගලෙක්ට presentation. It's like personal selling approach. Now, sales management, we highly talk about personal selling. We highly talk about, y'all would have seen whatever the definitions we were talking about. In most of these definitions, they said, personal selling. They got personal selling involvement in it. So if that is the case, you being a salesperson, okay, we being sales professionals, we need to master our presentation skills. එතකොට මම ආයි පාරක් කියන්නේ මේ presentation skills කියන එකෙන් mean කරන්නේ නැහැ අපි PowerPoint slides ටිකක් හදලා ඒ PowerPoint slides ටික ගිහිල්ලා management එක ඉස්සරහා හිටගෙන කතා කරනවායි කියන එක නෝ. එතනින් එහාට ගිය දෙයක් තමයි මෙතන අපි presentation skills කියලා කතා කරන්නේ. So let's move forward slowly. I'm not going to run this video. So these are the areas we will be talking about. Segment 1 එක අපි attitudinal development, body language, breathing technique ඒවා ගැන ඔයගොල්ලෝගේ tonality එක, voice balancing එක ඒ ටික කතා කරා. Segment 2 එක presentation එකක් plan කරන්නේ කොහොමද කියන එක we'll be discussing. So my dear friends, your mindful approach අපි දැන් මේ ගොඩක් වෙලාවට කියන දෙයක් තමයි be mindful with whatever you do කියන එක. මොකද්ද මේ mindful වෙනවයි කියලා කියන්නේ. So can someone tell me what do you mean by being mindful? What do you mean? You might have heard මේ වචනේ අපිට corporate set එකේ ඉන්නකොට සමහර වෙලාවට දවස පුරාම ඇහෙනවනේ. මොනවාද පුතා be mindful will you කියලා. කොහොමනේ අපි කියන්නේ, right? But what do you mean by this? Being mindful. What do you think? Can someone tell the meaning of being mindful? So, yes. Updated. Okay, very good. What else? What else?
According to the situational.
Yes, that is 100%. Now, mindfulness is all about being mindful means you're connected to the present situation. Your mind is connected to the present situation. Now, let's say as example, my dear friends, now you're planning your next presentation. අපි business plan එක ගහනවා. ඊළඟ financial year එකට අපි business plan එක ගහනවායි කියලා හිතමු. උදාහරණයක් විදිහට. දැන් මේ presentation එක අපි හදනවා. planning presentation එක අපි හදනවා. ඒ හදනකොට දැන් අපිට අපේ mind එක දුවනවා ලෝකේ වටේ. right? අපි මේක එක තැනක නෑ. දැන් අපි මේ presentation එක plan කරනවා. මේ business plan එක අපි ගහනවා. right? මේක දැන් ඊළඟ top management එකට මම ලබන සතියේ present කරන්න ඕනේ. එහෙනම් ඒකට මම ready වෙනවා. දැන් මේ හදනකොට මගේ ඔළුවේ තියෙන්නේ මොකද්ද? මම මේ physically මම මෙතන වාඩි වෙලා ඉන්නවා. නමුත් මගේ ඔළුවේ තියෙනවා නම් මගේ ඔළුවේ තියෙන්නේ ලබන සතියේ තියෙන පාටි එක නම් ඊයේ කට්ටියත් එක්ක අහුවෙලා දාපු ජොලිය නම් so you will not be able to get the maximum out of it. So you need to make sure your mind and the body is connected 100%. Now, my dear friends, this is proven scientifically in the world using a model technique called neuroplasticity study. When you all develop your mind in a way where you can control the mind to keep it in one place and focus, then you win the game. So එතකොට ඒක ඔකට තමයි පොඩි ට්‍රේනින් එකක් ඕනේ. ඉතින් අපි ප්‍රසන්ටේෂන් එකක් කරනකොට උනත් අපි හැමතිස්සෙම කියන්නේ so even when you prepare your presentation, go for some kind of a mindful, maybe a breathing technique, maybe kind of a having a tea with mindfully, or going on a small, maybe a meditation kind of a thing. So before you start the presentation or before you start your plan, now when it comes for the word meditation we rarely use when it comes for this subject, because the moment we call the word meditation, it is connected with the religion or the yoga or something like that. So this is nothing to do with that. It's all about your mind. It's all about your internal capacity to keep your mind in one particular place. I think make a ගොඩක් කට්ටිය ආගමක් එක්ක පටලවා ගන්න. Now Buddhism, it says ආනාපානසති කියලා. It's a technique what Prince Siddhartha was using. එතකොට Prince Siddhartha කියලා කියන්නේ බෞද්ධයෙක් නෙමෙයිනේ. එතකොට Prince Siddhartha බුදු වුණාට පස්සේනේ ඒ බෞද්ධ කියන සංකල්පයක් ආවේ. Prince Siddhartha කියලා කියන්නේ ඒ කාලේ ඉන්දියාවේ තිබ්බ ආගමක් හරි මොකක් හරි අදහපු පුද්ගලෙක්. එතකොට එයා ප්‍රැක්ටිස් කරපු ටෙක්නික් එකක් විදිහට තමයි මේ ආනාපාන. But the same thing if we really look at Gayatri mantra. Om Bhurvuvasvaha Tatsavidu Vareham Bhargo Devassa Demahi Thiyo Yona Prachodaya කියන ওই Gayatri mantra එක ඇතුලේ Bhargo Devassa Demahi කියන වචන තුන අපි අරගත්තොත් අපි if we are to connect with the God, we need to keep our mind calm and quiet, and mind basically ready for that. එතකොට එතනදී අපි කතා කරනවා. එතකොට අපි කතා කරොත් අපි ඉස්ලාමික ආගමේ අපි කතා කරොත් මුරාකබා කියන වචනේ ගත්තොත් MURAQABAH කියන එක MURAQABAH මුරාකබා කියන වචනේ අපි හරියට ස්ටඩි කරොත් ඒක අපි කියන්නේ mindfulness කියන එක. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයා අපේ මයින්ඩ් එක තියෙන්න ඕනේ ෆ්‍රී වෙලා God එක කනෙක්ට් වෙන්න නම්. ඔය වගේම තමයි ක්‍රිස්තියානිටි, කැතලික් ක්‍රිස්තියානියා ඔය රිලිජන් වලත් ඕක බයිබල් එකේ ඒ තැන් වල කතා කරනවා. ඉතින් එතකොට මේක ආගමකට ලිමිට් වෙච්ච එකක් නෙමෙයි. My dear friends, මේ breathing technique එක කියන එක y'all can do wonders if you really want to know. If y'all can practice this. Now I know by practice, right? So when you all can practice this, ඕගොල්ලෝගේ ඔය ස්ට්‍රෙස් ලෙවල් එක අඩු කරගන්න පුළුවන්. අපිට අපේ ස්ට්‍රෙස් ලෙවල් එක අඩු කරගන්න පුළුවන්. අනවශ්‍ය දේවල් අනවශ්‍යයි කියලා කෙලින්ම අත්හරින්න පුළුවන් ස්ට්‍රෝං මයින්ඩ් එකක් ඕගොල්ලන්ට හැදෙනවා. ඒක 100% guarantee. එතකොට ඒ වගේම තමයි memory capacity එක වැඩි කරගන්න පුළුවන්. When you train your mind, my dear friends, it gives that capacity slowly. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි memory capacity එක වැඩි වෙන්න හේතුව තමයි we are focusing on this particular thing and nothing outside comes and disturb. So what happened, our neuron adjustments are basically they are in a way where you store whatever the things. So your learning capacities are increasing with this technique. So make a scientifically prove කරලා තියෙනවා. එතකොට Professor John Kabat-Zinn කියලා පුද්ගලයෙක් අපි ගත්තොත් ලෝකේ ඉන්න. එතකොට එයා මේක introduce කරා concepts දෙකක් විදියට අපි කතා කරා මේක. See ඔන්න ඔය දේවල් අපි identify කරගත්තොත් අපිට පුළුවන් ඒක mindful approach එකකට ගෙනියන්න. ඉතින් presentation එකක් කරනකොට උනත් remember, even your business plan, even your project plan, even your marketing plan, even when you are preparing a sales budget plan, whatever, හැම තිස්සෙම ඔයගොල්ලෝ හිතන්න මේකට focus කරලා කරන්න නම් your brain, your mind should be stronger for that. So that is why we always said, look here, y'all need to be mindful kela. And if you really want to know if your day-to-day cycle, when you really look at your day-to-day cycle, 80% is communication, my dear friends. I mean, it can be verbal, it can be written. More than 80% is communication. Okay, මොකද මේ communication එක ඇතුලේ personal communication එකෙම නැත්තම් මෙන්න මේ වගේ අපි ගත්තොත් එම presentation type communication එක මනුස්සයෙක් involve වෙලා කරන communication එක. So that plays a crucial role, because the moment you connect a person, it's not like written, because written only words communicate. And also when you even manage your written communication, you have to bring some kind of a feelings. And ඕගොල්ලෝ බලන්න දැන් Google email එකක් Gmail එකක් අපේ Gmail body එකේ අපි ලියනකොට ඒගොල්ලොන් දෙනවා ඒ අපේ wording style එක අනුව reader feel වෙන දේ එක්කෝ happy නම් එක්කෝ unhappy නම් එක්කෝ arrogant නම් ඒගොල්ලොන් කියනවා මේ images වලින් දෙනවා emojis වලින් ඒගොල්ලොන් කියනවා right ඔයාගේ writing skill එක ඔයාගේ writing pattern එක reader ට තරහ යනවා. එහෙනම් you need to change it. ඒ කියන්නේ emotions අපේ වචන ඇතුලේ අපි ලියන වචනේ ඇතුලේ පවා ඒ emotions තියෙනවා. So we need to be careful in that case. So written communication. But when it comes to verbal communication, it might be worse. Because I mean, you present yourself because you are using whatever the materials in it. You are using maybe your body language, your tonality. එතකොට අපිට manage කරන්න තියෙන ප්‍රමාණය වැඩි වෙනවා. එතකොට we need to be careful. So like that. So presentations අපි communication එක ගත්තොත් අපේ job එකෙන් අපි දවසේ job එක අපි ගත්තොත් එහෙම 80%ක්ම අපි කරන්නේ 80කට වැඩි ප්‍රමාණයක් අපි කරන්නේ communicate කරන එක. එතනදී මේ personal communication එක කියන එකත් right, it gives a huge weightage. So we need, and අපි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට I mean අපි identify කරගෙන තියෙනවා ගොඩක් major scale projects වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Major scale client එහෙම නැත්නම් sales වෙන්න පුළුවන්. close වෙන්නේ අපි presentation එක base කරගෙන අපි කොහොමද present කරන්න කියන එක base කරගෙන right. එතකොට ඒ හින්දා ඒක අපිට සෑහෙන්න වැදගත් පුද්ගලයෙක් විදියට ඉස්සරහට යනකොට. Then now when you are playing this role in a company, right, then අපි වැඩ කරනකොට company එකක right, අපි වැඩ කරනකොට company එකක අපිට roles තුනක් play කරන්න එනවා. presenter කෙනෙක් විදියට right, අපිට presentations කරනකොට එහෙම නැත්නම් අපි වැඩ කරනකොට අපේ ඒ presentation එක පෙන්වන්න roles තුනක් අපිට play කරන්න තියෙනවා. ඒ roles තුනෙන් කොයි එක වෙන සමහරවල් roles තුනම අපිට play කරන්න වෙන්නත් තියෙනවා සමහර situations වලදී. දැන් අපි ගත්තොත් අපි දකිනවා මේ presentation skills අපි develop කරනකොට එක්කෝ අපි සමහර වෙලාවට trainer කෙනෙක් විදියට වැඩ කරනවා. Designation එකෙන් trainer නෙමෙයි, remember that. It's not by designation. Sometimes we are working as a facilitator with our presentation, with our approach. Sometimes we are just a presenter. Sometimes we are just a presenter. We are not a trainer, neither facilitator, but we are just a presenter. We need to identify difference between these three, because depending on the role what we are planning to play, only our structure differs. දැන් අපේ structure එක වෙනස් වෙන්නේ, අපේ approach එක වෙනස් වෙන්නේ, අපි presenter role එකක්ද play කරන්නේ, අපි trainer role එකක්ද play කරන්නේ, අපි facilitator role එකක්ද play කරන්නේ කියන එක මත තමයි. මොකද ඒක අනුව තමයි presentation එකේ objectives වෙන්නේ. අපි හිතමු උදාහරණයක් විදිහට අපි මේ stand up presentation එකක් කරන්න හදනවායි කියලා plan කරනවායි කියලා in front of an audience. එතකොට if we are planning that, we need to look at මම දැන් මේ කරන්න හදන්නේ presenter කෙනෙක්ගේ role එකක්ද? එහෙම නැත්නම් මම කරන්නේ facilitator කෙනෙක්ගේ role එකක්ද? එහෙම නැත්නම් මම මේක trainer කෙනෙක් විදිහටද කරන්න ඕනේ? So you need to identify that. මොකද ඒක අනුව තමයි structure එක, ඔය එකට අදාළ විදිහට objectives ටික, ඕගොල්ලෝ use කරන props and materials, everything defined based on the role that you are playing. So you got to identify that. So let's look at one by one. What do you mean by a trainer? දැන් අපි trainer කෙනෙක් කියලා කිව්වහම, remember my dear friends, now let's say you are playing a role of a trainer. If you are playing a role of a trainer means, I mean, there can't be anyone else stronger than you in the subject. Because අපි trainer කෙනෙක්ගේ role එකක් නම් play කරන්නේ, අපිට වඩා දැනුම ගොඩක් තියෙන කෙනෙක් ඒ audience එකේ, ඒ කියන්නේ මෙහෙමයි, එතන audience එකේ ඉන්න බෑ. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ subject එකට අදාළව. ඒකෙන් අදහස් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. දැන් අපි හිතමු උදාහරණයක් විදිහට අපි මොකක් හරි event එකක speech එකක් දෙනවා. ඒ event එකේ speech එක දෙනකොට ඒ audience එකේ මේ ඉන්නවා අපිට වඩා knowledgeable කෙනෙක්. එහෙම එකක් නෙමෙයි මම මේ කියන්නේ. So trainer කෙනෙක්ගේ role එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ audience එකට වඩා හැමතිස්සෙම knowledge එක අතින් උඩින් ඉන්න පුද්ගලයෙක්. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒ subject එකට, ඒ trainer කතා කරන subject එකට I mean to say. Right? එතකොට we need to know, I mean skill level. එහෙනම් අපි train කරන්න යනවා නම් කාව හරි, එහෙනම් අපි ඒ train කරන area එක ගැන master වෙන්න ඕනේ. If not, we can't play a proper role of a trainer. ඒක දැන් අපි හිතමු අපේ යටතේ එන පුද්ගලයෙක් ගැන product training එකක් අපි දෙන්න. අපේ යටතේ එන පුද්ගලයෙක් ගැන sales body training එකක්, technique training එකක් දෙන්න. අපේ යටතේ එන පුද්ගලයෙක් ගැන communication related body training එකක් දෙනවා, telephone etiquettes ගැන body training. Then the person who is training that person, the individual, should be strong in the subject. එහෙම නැති වුණොත් එයා trainer කෙනෙක්ගේ role එකක් නෙමෙයි එයා play කරන්නේ. So remember, එහෙමනම් කවුරු හරි කිව්වොත් එහෙම තවත් පුද්ගලයෙක්ව train කරන්නයි කියලා, එහෙනම් ඒ පුද්ගලයාට capacity එක තියෙන්න ඕනේ අර train වෙන පුද්ගලයාට වඩා. Trainer and trainee. So trainer should have the best capacity, highest capacity on that particular subject than the trainee in this. So that is the type of that is the pattern of a trainer. So let's look at the facilitator. Now we most of the time play a role of a facilitator. මොකක්ද facilitator ගේ role එක කියලා කියන්නේ? Facilitator ගේ role එක කියලා කියන්නේ discussion mode එකට යනවා අපි. We go into a discussion mode and we get ideas of everybody and maybe even go into kind of a brainstorming, and you pump your ideas and support the entire team to go for a particular discussion or decision. So facilitator role does not mean that you are basically highly knowledgeable on that particular subject. Now the consultants are facilitators. Remember. Now what do? They come and they take your ideas, they get your ideas, they analyze all these things and say, hey, look here, by looking at your approach, and this is what we should do. So he's coming up with the facilitator approach, because discussion mode he's taking the meeting maybe into a discussion mode, and he analyze all data and finally he comes up with his idea. So facilitator role is somewhat similar into that. So are you going to play a facilitator role as a person? Right? Facilitator role එකක්ද අපි මේ play කරන්නේ. එහෙනම් මගේ back end එක මම කොහොමද හදාගන්නේ? So you got to identify that. So that is the facilitator. Someone, so to make easy, right, is the process, right? Someone who helps the person or organization to do something more easily or find answers for problem. So kind of a consultative approach, right? Kind of a consultative approach. So එතන වෙනසක් තියෙනවනේ. එතකොට දැන් ට්‍රේනර් කෙනෙක් කියලා කිව්වහම ඔඩියන්ස් එක යාගෙන් තමයි ඔක්කොම ගන්න බලන්නේ. but facilitator කියලා කිව්වහම මොකද්ද? එතකොට ඔඩියන්ස් එකත් එක්ක අහුවෙලා ඩිස්කෂන් එකකට එහෙම නැත්නම් මොනවට හරි ගිහිල්ල ඉවරලා එහෙනම් සොලියුෂන් එකක් හොයන්න බලන්නේ. එතකොට facilitator එකෙන් අදහස් වෙන්නේ නැහැ මේ කම්පැනි එක ගැන 100% knowledgeable no. He may be having analytical skills. එන ideas ඔක්කොම analyze කරලා ගන්න skill එක වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So like that you got to identify. So facilitator role එකක්ද මම play කරන්නේ. එහෙමත් නැත්නම් මම play කරන්නේ සාමාන්‍ය presenter කෙනෙක්ගේ role එකක්ද. audience එකේ ඉන්නවා ප්‍රශ්න මුකුත් අහන්නේ මම ගියා කතා කරා. දැන් අපි උදාහරණයක් විදිහට annual get together එක දෙන speech එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Right? එහෙම නැත්නම් award ceremony එකක දෙන speech එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක one way communication එකක්. I mean there you got to prepare yourself. You have to basically make sure you are comfortable to address the audience and all these things are there, but just delivering it's more or less the one way delivering the message across the audience, right? But look at the facilitator and the trainer. So it can be two ways. Facilitator is majorly two ways, and trainer to a certain extent it can be two way. But presenter role, you're just presenting. They are listening, you are presenting. They are listening, you are presenting. You talk about a particular subject and they are listening, and once you complete it, they just cheer you, and that's it. So I mean, what type of a role api play කරන්න හදන්නේ මගේ presentation skill එකේ, we need to identify. ඉතින් ඒක අනුව අපි adjust කරගන්නවා. ඒක අනුව අපි adjust කරගන්නවා අපේ approach එක මොකක්ද කියන එක. පැහැදිලිද? So in a sales presentation, now let's say you are meeting a client. එතකොට ඒක මොන විදියද? ඒක මොන විදියද? ඒක facilitator ද? එහෙම නැත්නම් ඒක presenter ද? ඒක එහෙම නැත්නම් trainer ද? මොන role එකක්ද play කරන්නේ sales presentation එකකදී? Can someone get an idea? ඔයගොල්ලෝ කරපු sales presentation එකක් කල්පනා කරන්න. කරපු sales presentation එක අපි මොන role එකද play කරේ? Anyone? What is the role you all were playing? Facilitator the trainer the
Facilitator.
I can't get you.
Facilitator.
Your line is not clear, Puta. Facilitator. Okay. What else? What else? What do you all think? Trainer කියලා හිතන කට්ටිය. Trainer කියලා හිතන කට්ටිය. Presenter කියලා හිතන කට්ටිය. Okay, good. Siraj, you said trainer. Presenter කියලා හිතන කට්ටිය. Confused, I guess. Right. Remember, මෙතන තමයි අපිට challenge එක එන්නේ. Sales personality එකකට customer කෙනෙක් ඉස්සරහා ඔය roles තුනම play කරන්න වෙනවා. My dear friends. Customer product එක ගැන දන්නේ නැත්නම් we have to train the customer regarding the product. Okay? We have to train the customer regarding the product. With customers' knowledge, and experience, their market approach and all these things. We also have to facilitate the customer, say that, look here, Henam will do like this, Henam will do like that, right? Okay. So let's say as example, you talk to a couple of customers, right? And I mean, you might sometimes just present the customer is listening, right? Customer is listening and responding. Okay, yes, kind of a thing. So sales personality එකක් කියලා කිව්වහම සමහර වෙලාවට එකම presentation එක ඇතුලේ ඔය roles තුනම play කරන වෙලාවල් තියෙනවා. That is the challenge as a salesperson. එතකොට අපි දැනගන්න ඕනේ අපි වැඩිපුරම pitch කරන්න ඕනේ trainer ගේ role එකද, facilitator ගේ role එකද, presenter ගේ role එකද කියලා. මොකද සමහර වෙලාවට with certain customers we might identify they don't respond. So what type of a role we need to play, right? Then we need to basically present the customer properly in a way. The customer doesn't talk like talking, right? He just listen, right? You're presenting in a way where you capture him. And I mean, let's say the product, you need to give a proper training. Product එකට train වෙන ගමන් එයාට ඒක විකුණන විදිය කියලා දෙනවා. එයාගෙන් අහනවා එයාගේ market එක ගැන මොනවද කොහොමද කියලා ඉවල. So with all these things we get complete I mean all three rather steps in sales presentations, my dear friends. So මෙතන තමයි අපිට challenge එක තියෙන්නේ. දැන් අපිට හිතන්න බෑ නෑ මම presenter කෙනෙක් විතරයි. නෑ මම trainer කෙනෙක්, නෑ මම මේ facilitator කෙනෙක්. එහෙම එකක් වෙන්නේ නෑ sales presentations වලදී. අපි දැක්කලා තියෙනවා මේ roles තුනම play කරනවා. ඒකේ ratio එක තමයි වෙනස් වෙන්නේ. සමහර වෙලාවට presenter